I'm live from Skopje, Macedonia, and this is actually my third attempt at making daily videos, but this one I'm doing in collaboration with Public Room. So Public Room is, it says I should invite friends. Okay, like how am I supposed to invite friends while I'm on a live video? Anyway, so I'm the entrepreneur in residence now at Public Room, which is just generally in Macedonia. And in the afternoons, usually I am available at the Public Room in Skopje, and they've asked me to do a series of videos so that people will know what they can ask me. So first of all, for those of you who don't know what I'm doing, I am in Macedonia for a month now, for all the month of June and the first week of July, helping various entrepreneurs and startups in the startup ecosystem which they're building here in the Balkans. And it's actually very exciting. The kinds of companies that are here are just like anywhere else, and the kinds of problems they're coming across are just like anything else. So every day I'm going to be talking about some of the issues, like a specific issue that I've come across in the past 2 days. And I recently just got back from Switzerland, where we had a little conference of all the women entrepreneurs in the program, which includes the 4 Balkan countries and Vietnam and Peru, and apparently nobody knows why those 6 countries exactly were chosen, but it was amazing to see people from 6 different countries with different kinds of businesses. And one of the most common problems that I found with people was they couldn't describe their company very quickly. They were giving pitches. It was an entrepreneur week where at the end they gave, prize to the best pitch. And amazingly enough, in a 3-minute pitch, about half of the time, I didn't actually understand the business. So how do you tell people what you do? Sometimes it is a little bit complicated. And sometimes, especially if you're in a market where people don't understand you, maybe they're not familiar with your particular market, and you might feel like you need to explain what you do a little bit better. And a lot of these companies kind of grew organically from a need of their customers or something like that, and so they kind of never really thought, what am I really doing? And they never learned how to describe what they're doing. So the key to doing a great, quick elevator pitch is really 2 elements. Element number 1 is what you provide, what the value is that you provide. And it's not always what you think. It's really only in relation to the second thing, which is who your customer is. So the 2 elements are what you do and who you do it for, or probably a better order is who you do it for, right? Who your customer is and what you give them. And sometimes it's slightly surprising. So for example, one of the customers that I was talking to, one of the women had a company, and basically it was a company that makes clothing in one of the Balkan countries and exports it to handmade clothing and bags and things like that, and exports it to Scandinavia. But none of that was the real problem that they solved. The real problem they solved was, in many of these countries you can't pay with PayPal, and shipping is a problem, and there's a lot of regulations around payment and governance. So actually this company has solved the problems around how can you get payment from the European Union into the Balkan countries, and how can you ship in their particular country with their particular regulations. So while she thought she had a clothing company, the real challenge that she had solved was a challenge that most of the people she was pitching to didn't even know it was a challenge. I mean, if you're pitching to an investor and you're saying, I'm making clothing, it's not very interesting. But if you're pitching to an investor and you say, listen, in my country, the problem is the import and export regulations, and I've solved that, you have a totally different business proposition for that person. So that's the first thing. You have to know what problem you really solved and who did you really solve it for. And you can usually say that in one sentence. So when I talk about my business, for example, I say I provide business owners peace of mind. I don't say I'm an organizational consultant or I do team coaching or whatever. I say I provide business owners peace of mind. That's really simple, right? It's 4 words. It's who am I providing it for, and what is the value in what I provide. So again, I was one of the other women. She had a company that she actually had 3 companies, and she didn't even know it, because she started as an organic farmer and she created an online store. That's simple, right? She sold her organic products online. But she saw as it picked up, she didn't have enough products. And so she needed more organic farmers. But a lot of the organic farmers didn't know how to properly grow and package and make products to the standards that she wanted. Some are farm products, just like tomatoes, and some are, honey and things that are packaged, or even organic cosmetics. And so she created an educational site. And for that site, it's a completely different site, right? The customer is the organic farmer who's maybe not so educated and needs more information about, both about how to grow things, but also about the grants they might be eligible for, how to package things. And so this is a completely different site. It's a second business that grew up out of, she didn't have enough suppliers for her organic farm site. And so now she had 2 businesses, right? One site just provides organic products for people who can order online and get shipped to their home. The second one is a site that provides education for organic farmers. And I asked her, well, what about sales? Isn't that what they want? She said, that's no problem. I have so much demand on my other site that as soon as they can increase their yield, I sell for them. So it's only about increasing their yield and having the quality standards that I need. Great. And the third business also just came up organically. Somebody from another country, because she was at this meeting with me, said, hey, I have the same problem in my country. I want to educate my farmers too. What do you got? So now she's talking about selling a software license as well. So that's a third company, right? For other people who want to develop the organic farming business in their industry, a platform where they can educate organic farmers, or they're not exactly organic farmers, right? You get it, right? In these countries, it's just people who've always been farming the way that they farm, so they don't know how to package for a bigger market. And so she's created an educational platform that can be transferred to other countries as a software license. So that's it. So those are some examples for you about how do you quickly identify who's my target audience, right? Who's actually paying the money? Who do I care about? And say that as half of my elevator statement. And then the other half of the elevator statement is what value I provide them. So that's today's little Entrepreneur in Residence video. I will be today at the public room in Skopje from about 2 o'clock to 6 or 7, depending on who needs what and who comes up to me. So really feel free to see me at public room in Skopje. It's a great co-working space and restaurant. So I'll see you there.